Tumbeta italia katika anga.
Like this. That is how the trumpet will sound.
There's a Gen Z who'd sued like the mother and the parents for ati alizaliwa bila kuchagua. I think at some point that's nonsense, ama? Like, can the law actually sit down to listen to that? Because I feel like it's nonsense. And this dude was supposed to be delivering stuff. So you know what he did? Got into the car, started running red lights. And just ran red lights. Because ametoka Kenya. In Kenya we run red lights. By the time alikuwa namaliza, bili yake ilikuwa 1.5 million shillings. Yes.
Right now, it's like they're discouraging people from paying. Ushaenda supermarket?
Yeah.
Line ya M-Pesa ni moja. Nini, what do you call them? Station ya M-Pesa ni moja.
Yeah.
The rest ni cash.
Kwa nini?
Tembea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's a care thing.
Yeah, it's care thing. Tembea hapa tao.
But Ekonene. Episode 629 tukisema like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend, sindio? Yeah, na leo tuko na Sandra Ochola, na Sandra Ochola ni an advocate of the High Court na pia an author. Ameandika kitabu inaitwa Teen's Guide to the Constitution of Kenya. And inasema the second edition.
Yes, that's the second edition.
Yes. What was the first edition? Because this is the first time nasikia juu Teen's Guide.
Imagine.
Yes.
So the first edition, it's turning 10 years this year.
This book?
Imagine that. 10 years this year. So the first edition was in 2016. And it was the same, the Teen's Guide to the Constitution. It was much slimmer than this one, I think about 100 pages. But between 2016 and 2022, when I did the second edition, a number of things had happened. There'd been presidential elections, the nullification. We had the BBI, for instance. So that necessitated now the... its expansion, if I could use that word, and just making it as comprehensive and as recent as possible for the people who will be reading it. So first edition in 2016, second edition in 2022. Oh. So it will keep improving for as long as we have the constitution and we are making changes to it, then... Yeah.
Oh, so now whenever there are changes, you...
Exactly.
Okay.
We add on to it and make it relevant. Yeah.
So I'm seeing like the first edition published by Katiba Institute.
Yes.
Katiba Institute waga nini? I always assume it's this amorphous, it's this kitu tu nyi mnasemaga tu. No. Wana understand Katiba. Katiba it's an organization.
Yes, it's an organization. It's equally, I think, more or less the same... period, yeah. But established around the same time we had the constitution, then to help citizens understand the laws that were being passed, civic education, and all these conversations around the constitution. So that was its main purpose. And I think it's been very active.
Yes.
For a good number of years in terms of enhancing public interest litigation, again, civic education, helping the public understand what the constitution is saying, and challenging decisions, as we've been seeing, and initiatives, including from the government end that then they feel, or the institution then perceives as infringing on the constitution. So established to help citizens understand the constitution and also to promote constitutionalism. And that is where the first edition of the constitution came about, because at the time of getting the first edition, I was working there. And
for Katiba Institute.
I was at Katiba Institute. And that was really helpful for me, because then I always say I got to be mentored by the best. Yash and Jill
Ghai. That's
Jill Ghai.
His wife,
and me, yes, that's the wife. And Mr. Waikwa Wanyuke, who was the executive director then. And I remember presenting them with the idea to develop a Teen's Guide to the Constitution, a simplified version of the Constitution for young people.
Yes.
And they gave me the support I needed. And because they're already writing about the Constitution and publishing about the Constitution, then it was a really good space even for me to understand and to come up with my own version of it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm seeing also hapa kwa tumethank there is Martha Koome.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Martha Koome, then she was a chief guest. She was a chief guest then during the launch of the first edition of the pictures are here. If you can see them from the back here. This is what the first edition looked like. Yeah. It was very beautiful. So by virtue of her initiatives then, she was invited to be the chief guest during the launch of the first edition. But then she was still a judge of the Court of Appeal. And it was such an honor to have her grace the occasion given what she was doing at the time and a contribution to the judicial system at that time.
Okay. Alafu naona pia nini, it's a very interactive book. This is because of it targets teens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Because of the young people
attention span.
So you have to make it very colorful. You have to make it the language relatable. When you read through it, you're going to see it talks more of asking questions, getting them to think. For instance, the first part, as a young adult, you are an important part of society, as you have the ability to change your community through your choices and actions. The Constitution of Kenya is therefore important as it protects your interests, provides you with a strong foundation to be a productive citizen today and in the future. So that kind of language is very relatable to a young person compared to the technical material that is in the Constitution. And then when you look at say page 25, you give them exercises, to help them internalize what they have read. And then we also have case studies that relate to them. If you look at the chapter 1 on power of the people and the authority of the Constitution, it talks about young people standing up, defending the Constitution in the way they know best on how to do it. So making the language relatable, making it colorful so that it's age appropriate, and also giving them exercises to do so that they're able to retain the Constitution.
So with the book, like what are the ages you're targeting? Like
from 13 to 19.
Teens, eh?
Yeah, teens specifically.
So like somebody like me whose comprehension is not, I'm not going to read the technical one. I can't get this one in
Yes,
practice.
you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can. I tell adults. Exactly. I tell because you find most adults, because oftentimes it's the parents, the guardians, and the adults who are going to interact with it first before then they're able to get it for the young people. And agreeably, I agree with you. Whenever an adult asks who's above 20, 19, I tell them it's appropriate for you. Then you can also read it and enjoy it, because there are other people who say that reading and understanding the Constitution is a challenge for them. Yes. And so this makes it very easy for them to understand the Constitution. So yes, you can read it. You can be an adult teen for a short period of time for the purposes of understanding the Constitution.
Because the Constitution gives people the right to pursue happiness. You have to catch it yourself. To hii nakuangalia US kupursue happiness. Hata I think there was a whole movie about it, the pursuit of happiness.
Pursuit of happiness.
That's such an American thing. Sisi tunakuanga the pursuit of happiness. Does the Kenyan Constitution care if I'm happy?
Every one of us is in a pursuit of happiness. You want a comfortable life. You want your children to go to school. You want food in your pantry. You want clothes on your back. That's part of that pursuit for happiness.
Pipe dreams though.
They're not pipe dreams. And so you have what this means, and it applies to us as well. Then the Constitution enables you in that pursuit. For instance, now that you're talking about rights, for instance, the previous Constitution did not provide for economic, social, and cultural rights, but the 2010 Constitution does. So that even as you engage in your civic and political activities, then it enables you to also pursue your rights to healthcare, higher standards of healthcare, your rights to education, your rights to water, your rights to a clean and safe environment, your right to food, the things that we really take for granted, but there are legal parameters that should be established and adhered to for you to be able to enjoy particular rights. So this applies even to us, that it as you're pursuing your happiness, then the Constitution enables you to...
But right here to your food, see, it's just on paper, because it's not in practice. Because I think France walipitisha, there's something we spoke about, was it last week? Tukiongea Italy. In Italy, if I'm hungry, I can. If I went into a restaurant and I'm hungry and I ate, and then I told them like I don't have money, but I needed to eat, I can't be arrested because the government knows that food is a necessity. Sisi, of course, the thug work that's in Kenya, I think it's just on paper. I think because the government won't care that I'm hungry. I'm still going to jail. For...
hapo Sanford uchukue chipo
Yeah.
masufuria zikuangukie.
in someone's business.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in France, in Italy kuna hiyo. No, France pia walipitisha ingine. I remember. I think I took a screenshot of it. Like it was something close to that, but it came to stories of food.
Yeah.
And I found
Of course, they don't expect you to go to Red Lobster.
I know.
Yes.
And just order.
Yeah.
So with France, it's illegal for a restaurant to throw away food. So restaurants have to sign like contracts with food banks, not just restaurants, pia supermarkets. Like awezi rusha chakula, because what used to happen in France is hatu ulikuwa najuaga juu ya the homeless will just come and scavenge, they'd spoil the food, so walikuwa nairusha kwa dustbin alafu wanaiharibu. So ikakuwa saizi haukuwa allowed, as long as chakula ijaharibika haukuwa allowed kuirusha kwa dustbin. Alafu pia so with that, any food that iko time constrained, you have to like sign a contract with food banks. Ziltakam kuichukua so that they give it to someone. So you see, now when I hear that, I feel like that country has the right to food. EA2, I feel like it's on paper. And this is of course not me blaming you. I'm just asking you, like, do you actually feel that? Like, yes, it's good, but it's just on paper.
I'll answer it two ways. One, that there are things we call, there are rights that cannot be, I'm forgetting the word though, but there are rights that cannot be delayed. Like your right to life, you need it instantly. Your freedom of the person, you need it immediately. But then there are rights that have to be achieved progressively and often dependent on the capacities of a particular country at that particular time. I actually included part of that for the young people. If I could read it out, yeah?
What page again?
43.
Okay.
You realize your civil and political rights the moment you exist. Certain economic and social rights, such as the right to clean and safe water and the freedom from hunger, must also be realized immediately. However, in some instances, it might take some time before you can enjoy all the economic and social rights in the Constitution to an adequate standard. This is especially if the government has not established the necessary infrastructure for these services. For example, while you have the right to health services, your area might not have enough hospitals to offer those critical services. This therefore demands that the government allocates adequate resources within a reasonable period of time to ensure that there are enough hospitals in your locality with specialized doctors to offer quality and affordable services. So there are those that you must realize immediately.
Okay.
And then there are those that can take time depending on the situation of the country at the time. So that is one. The second one, I'll give you an example. In early January, or mid-January, if I remember well, it was I think the Ministry of Agriculture, they issued a warning that there was a shortage of rice, that there was going to be a shortage of rice. And so there were suggestions that the country needs to import rice from abroad, a particular metric of tons, so as then to meet the local demands. Because then they said the short rains, the drought, they'd cleared, even the ones that were in the storage, are they called silos, Even the ones that were in the silos will not be enough. And so if the importation was not done, then it was going to impact on the right to food of citizens. So that was one stopgap measure to ensure that the citizens' right to food then will not be affected. The matter, however, went to court because there are some who are stating that there's enough rice in the country and there's no need to import, and challenging the decision of the government then to import. So there are certain things that are happening. It won't be out there that this is the right that is being promoted or protected or respected. But there are, if you look keenly and if you understand the right to begin with and the parameters within which it's meant to be achieved, then you'll be able to realize that then this is the right being discussed and this is how we are going about it. And for me, that's the reason why now writing the Constitution constitution, simplifying it so that then young people especially are able to understand, because you cannot defend and promote what you do not know, like in this instance.
Oh, okay. So nikiona hizi right to life, right to equality, does Kenya have something equivalent to like the First Amendment, Second Amendment? Like the First Amendment, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Sisi tunakuwaga na kitu kama hiyo. Is there an order to the constitution? Ama constitution yetu inarukaruka?
There is an order. If you compare it to the Independence Constitution, the Independence Constitution focused so much on the presidency and the institution. And before then, it talks about the people. But if you have a copy of your constitution, you'll then see the manner in which it's been designed. Yeah, and the designers of it, then, given the history and where we were coming from, they felt that it's very important first to start with the people. And then the republic, and then citizenship, and then Bill of Rights, and then land and environment, leadership and integrity. So I think that is aligned chapter to chapter, not a reflection of what Kenya needs and what the Kenyan people needs. They're addressing the issues that affect them, as opposed to aligning it to other constitutions. So if you have a copy of the constitution, you can only check it out to look at the order of the constitution. And in designing the Teens Guide, I followed the same order just to ensure that young people have a feel of both from chapter 1 to the last chapter of the constitution.
Okay, because I'm seeing upper under civil and political rights, the right to life. The right to life brings up a very interesting thing. I think I heard this was in one of these first world countries, yes? There's a Gen Z who sued like the mother and the parents for ati alizaliwa bila kuchagua. I think at some point that's nonsense, ama? Like, can the law actually sit down to listen to that? Because I feel like it's nonsense. Tukianza sisi wote kuteta, like, tukianza kusue our parents, because I can be there, like, I did not sign up for this tag road. So, like, let me sue, ama? I
know. It's the advantage or disadvantage of having liberal communities or having liberal societies that they can become very... Is it litigious? Yes. I think that's the word, very litigious, which is a good thing. Then it gives you the opportunity to exercise your rights, to access justice. So in that case, that was his right. I remember, I just skimmed through it. It was a young man,
Yes.
His right to exercise his access to justice. I haven't looked at it, so I don't know how far it went. But then if you look also at the right still, you're going to see that there's a right to family. Yeah. So the parents could also then counter that with the right to
have a family.
The right to have a family.
And me as a dad, like, you shouldn't have swam so fast. It was out of my hands. I told you to swim so fast.
It's crazy.
Then pia kuna a right to equality and freedom from discrimination. What does this mean?
Right to equality, where then you're not supposed to be... I'll just put it plainly, you're not supposed to be discriminated upon in access of opportunities, access of services, if I could use that one as well, and based on your race, whether it's because of your gender, because of your religion, because of your tribe. So then that lays a foundation where everyone has an equal chance to participate and to benefit from what Kenya and the Kenyan community is able to offer at a particular time.
What about sexuality? Mojasema jeyo. Kenya inakuwaga hivyo, because I remember there's a lawyer that I had who said that in Kenya it's not illegal to be gay. So what about sexuality? Hapa vile tukisema right to equality and freedom from discrimination is if a dude shows up can he be discriminated against? I'm saying that as someone who, of course, I would not discriminate, but anaweza ingia pale alafu ikuwe ni shida. So is it illegal to be gay in Kenya?
I'll give you an example. I worked with an organization a while back, while I was still in my civil society space that focused on the health. It was dealing with health and human rights and on the welfare, including of categories or a group called the key populations. That is where now you have the transgender, you have the gay people, as you were mentioning. So the understanding is, in the event that, and I'll use a government example. If the government is offering, say, medicine, or now in this instance, it's giving services to individuals, right? You have the right to, as the Constitution provides, you have the right to the highest attainable standards of health. So you have the right to receive medical care, you have the right to medication, and it's the same right that someone who identifies as gay also has, right? So he or she should not and cannot be denied that right, based on their sexuality. And it also relates to life. Just because you've identified as gay doesn't mean that now then your life should be taken away. Just because you also have the freedom of media, you should also access information. So the rights stay regardless of your sexuality or your preferences. Then now the other parameters then come into play, but that then now reflect what we find permissible within our community. But rights are rights regardless of.
I think one thing atujaulizani, why did you feel like this was necessary to try and explain the Constitution to teens? Because teens are out there discovering the latest TikTok trends. Why is the Constitution necessary for them?
Well, I assume we are all millennials, right?
Even
or you're a boomer.
older.
Baby boomers.
Baby boomer. So anyway, for the older generation, most of us grew up in the Moi regime.
Yes.
Yeah, we did the loyalty pledge and we drank the Moi milk and we put on our tiny uniforms going to sing at State House then. And for me, I always say that was a season of political indoctrination, right? Because Moi is all we knew when it comes to came to politics and leadership, right? And the media supported it because he was the first person and the last one you saw on telly. The community supported it. Our parents talked about it on the dinner table, so that's all you knew. You go to school, you're singing the loyalty pledge, and even the information that you're getting, it's very selective as to citizenship, as to leadership, as to politics. So I remember the first time I was voting, and then I was just told, that you are going to vote against Moi, and then it was the Kibaki time. You're going to vote to Kibaki, and nobody told me why, I was just told, yes, go and vote. This is the person you're going to vote for. Nobody told me why, right? And then afterwards, I'm seeing the change of power. I remember that image in my mind completely of how sad he looked when he was leaving office.
Yes.
That one has stuck with me when he was at State House and he was
kuingia kwa ile kwa ndege. Na ule mwingine alikuwa anaitwa nani ule mother?
There was a lady there.
Sally Kosgei.
She was
weeping.
You know.
Yeah.
That one stuck.
Sally wept. Yeah, she was crying because that's all she'd known. I think Moi was larger than life. You know, at some point we felt like he was ikuwa tunasema nani ni Moi wa Uganda, tuko tunasemaga hivyo. That's how much Moi was Moi.
So it was all we knew, and I even at that time in my younger mind I was like, why are they being so mean to this sweet old man? I didn't understand it. Why are they mistreating him? And he's been nothing but,
Nyayo House Chambers.
Yes, he's been nothing but nice. So it's afterwards that now I get into the workforce, and it so happened then that I started out in the civil society talking about human rights, transitional justice, good governance, those spaces. So then I begin to read that there were things like the Nyayo torture chambers, that there were things like SAPs, that there were things like
what's SAPs?
Structural adjustment plans. That were meant now to help the economy get back to its feet, because then there was so much corruption, there was so much mismanagement of the economy, and Kenya was just in a hopeless state economically. Yeah. So it was an international intervention. And then you also hear about freedoms of movement, freedom of association, things that were not there, like meetings like this. Apparently, there was a time that we could not could not have meetings like this because they were not allowed, right? So it's this realization. So the questions I was asking myself then is, why wasn't I told? Why wasn't I informed? You know, and is this information that I should have known as a young person? Yeah, so that even in my GHC and civic classes, then this is information that perhaps a history that I should have known. And you realize then that without this information, then as a generation or as a community, you grow up very docile. I could say politically docile, politically ignorant, civically, you're just there, you're just living. And because of the indoctrination as well, you are not able to stand up for yourself. You cannot stand up for your rights. You're not actively and meaningfully engaging in society. So that was one of the reasons. My own feelings of disenfranchisement as a young person and the impact then it had on me as an older citizen. So then the second part is then I realized that the disenfranchisement wasn't intentional. Yeah, it was just that given the culture, even at that particular time, as a young person, there are things I wasn't supposed to know. And there are spaces I wasn't supposed to be in. And there are conversations I wasn't supposed to be having. And especially with and around adults. So it wasn't because they didn't want me to know. And so third, then, my understanding of it is if you combine the disenfranchisement and the lack of information, you have now young people who are growing up and they are more involved. Yeah, they have more information. Yeah, and I always say, if you have a 14-year-old now not even 14, if you have a 16-year-old, that's maybe Form 2, Form 3. By 2027, then they'll be getting into adulthood. Perhaps they're going to be voting for the first time. And just like me, their first engagement in civic life will be, you've gotten your ID, you've gotten your voter's card. So now when the elections come, you're going to vote for ABCD. There's no engagement. Yeah, there's no civic education. There's no political education. All they have is the voter education and what they're hearing oftentimes from politicians and on TV and social media. So then how do you expect this young person to participate meaningfully within civic life, to participate meaningfully within politics and governance? How do you expect him or her to hold governments accountable? And even for them to exercise their rights and their responsibilities as young citizens. So that is what birthed the Teen's Guide to the Constitution, a simplified version of the Constitution that is then now meant to promote law-related and constitutional education amongst young people with the broader agenda of preparing them for civic life and public life.
Oh, okay. And then there's another thing that I've heard a lot of people say, that problem shida ya Kenya, even when we talk about pushing Kenya to the next level, people say shida yetu si hardware and software.
Yeah.
And of course, software would be like adhering to the constitution.
Yeah.
So do you feel like this can help kufanya watu understand? Tuki understand our constitution early enough, do you think it can help us to maybe, just maybe, look at Kenya as Kenya and look at ourselves as active citizens?
Yeah, I do believe so. And you're very right to say that our problem is not the lack of laws. Our problem is not the lack of systems. Our problem is values.
Yes.
Values and value systems, right? If we say... If we look at what's happening around, and perhaps if I can just look at what the Constitution talks about, Article 10, yeah? When the drafters of the Constitution were developing this, you have people from different religions, you have people from different areas of the country. But then we say, as we are developing the Constitution, we are saying, as a people, this is how we would like, these are the values that we want to be governed by, right?
Yes.
And we say we want to be patriotic, we want national unity, we want sharing and devolution of power, rule of law, human dignity. All these that are listed at Article 10 on the values and Constitution. But then now, if you are to hold each other accountable based on these values, then to what extent can we say then that we are adhering to these values and using these values then to take us to the next level. To what extent are we patriotic? To what extent are we embracing good governance and integrity and transparency and accountability? So you're very right to say it's not a hardware issue, it's a values issue.
Yeah.
And values formation doesn't start when you're 30. By the time you're an adult, your values and your value systems are already formed.
Yes.
Yeah. If it's dishonesty
Yes.
that you grew around and lived by,
Yes.
that is what is going to determine your life moving forward. If it is integrity that you lived by, and this one was pinned onto you for a long time, then that is a value system that you're going to adhere to. So that is why then having a constitution and making it available to young people is very important, because then it not only informs them, but it also acts as a tool for value formation, so that for a generation, for a community, then they grow up with a different value system perhaps than what the older generations have. And then you can use that then to as an instrument to change and influence society and community.
Okay. So Pierre, you're the founder of Tindom Africa.
Yes.
So what's Tindom Africa about?
Tindom Africa, it's teen-based, just like the name says. It's a
Yes.
teen-based organization that then now provides a platform for young people to engage. And it came about right after the development of the Constitution, the first edition of the Teens Guide to the Constitution of Kenya. So I would go around speaking to young people about the Teens Guide.
Yes.
And you realize they have other issues that are impacting them. For a 16-year-old, it's about boyfriends
Yes.
and girlfriends. Perhaps they're having issues at home. Perhaps they're suffering from self-esteem issues.
Yes.
So then I realized that beyond just teaching them about the Constitution, it's also important then to provide a platform where then they can express themselves, they can exchange ideas, they can meet and engage. And that is where now Tindom Africa came about. And beyond just the Teens Guide, the other thing that we have done, we had our first, it's called the Tindom Awards, which then now celebrates young people who are making impact within their communities. So it's a platform not only for civic education, but also one where young people can engage and also find the support that they need to as they move to adulthood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like your Tindom Awards, like which teens and how do you identify them? Like how do you identify that this one deserves an award?
Yes, it's the inaugural for last year, the Tindom Awards 2025. We had about 43 entries for the pilot program, around 43 entries. In environment, we decided on the categories, about 10 categories. We had environment, we had sports, we had academic excellence, we had creativity and creative arts. And so we have a system online. If you go to the website www.tindom.africa, the nominations were done over a given period where young people then by themselves, the teenagers by themselves or through their parents or guardians then submit the application for the awards. And then we had, or rather we still have a judging panel of about 12 young professionals who are also dedicated to youth development. So once we got to the nominations, then the judges looked at them. They came up with the 3 finalists, and from then we were able to identify the category winner and the 2 finalists for each category. So it was really great for the pilot program. And we managed to identify brilliant, young, driven teenagers who are doing amazing things within their communities.
Okay. And then Nikki, go through some of the photos hapa on Ken Okoth.
Yes.
So limitaje Ken Okoth, and how was he like?
He was smart. He was approachable. And he was very ambitious as well. I remember this, we'd gone for a program, a human rights governance program in his constituency. Then
Kibra.
Yes, and in connection with, this was in connection to Katiba Institute.
Yes.
Yeah, civic education during that particular time. And that is where we met, and he was very accommodating and happy about the idea. So it's one of the good memories of that time.
by time did they tuko tunajua yuko na cancer by time time you're taking this photo?
No. When you see the photo, he's still very still looks exceptionally healthy. Yeah,
'cause I think that's now the scary thing about life,
yeah.
because I think you're like he's Nini, we just knew about it and then ikampeleka haraka sana, because I
Very
think by the time
fast.
tuko tunamuona tena there's a time he had really lost like all the weight.
Yeah, and same with Bob Collymore. And I think I was speaking to someone last week, and we agreed that there was a quality of people. Yeah, there was a quality of people within society that perhaps we may not get to see again for a very long time.
Yes.
In terms of ideals, in terms of values, in terms of dedication to country, patriotism, dedication to communities. So he was one of those.
Yes, because I think he was able to do it CDF.
Yeah.
Damn. Like when CDF is not stolen, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alafu Nini, and so another, I didn't ask you about Yashpal Ghai. How do you find yourself in the Yashpal Ghai circle? Because that's a very interesting.
Yes, he was, or rather not he was, he is the founder of, one of the founders of Katiba Institute.
Yes. Okay.
One of the founders of Katiba Institute, given his experience and work around constitutions and constitutionalism. And if you look at the first chapters, I've also talked about him because he's amazing. He's one of the people that helped draft the constitution of Kenya. Yeah. So with that kind of experience, then he established Katiba Institute, and I found myself working there. And he and Jill and Waikwa were great sources of support in developing the first edition of the Teens Guide. Yeah.
Afu vile umejicorrect juu ya yeye because I was so used to seeing him on the news that when he disappeared, so vile umejicorrect, that's why I was like he's not was
He's
No, he's still around.
yes,
Yes, he's still no, I meant that in terms of whether he's still at Katiba Institute. Yeah, but he still is. He's very active, though not day to day going to the office, but he's still very active in matters constitution.
Yeah, because that hiyo inakwaga nini pia I think we were talking about that, having purpose in life, that for people like him, the people who have a purpose, najua like for a very long time, I think retirement age ya Kenya according to constitution 60 ama what's the retirement age?
Governance 60, yeah?
60.
When you get to
And they're
60,
trying to
you
push it
leave
to 65.
office.
Yeah. So you see now they should even push it to 75
75,
because what happens is the minute that you lose purpose is the minute that now you start kuzeeka. That's unapataga, like if you look at even life expectancy ya Kenya compared to the first world where people work till later in life, utapata huko life expectancy is much higher because the minute that you have no purpose unaamka tu asubuhi unaenda kunini. So is it what would need to be amended, because I feel like it's discriminatory pia kwa watu wazee. Siwezi fika 60 alafu niambie ni retire. Like I've seen 70-year-olds that are full of life. So what part of the constitution talks about like is a retirement age and such? Like what does that fall under?
I think it cuts through, because then retirement touches on leadership and integrity, touches on the legislature, representation of executive, judiciary, all this in terms of state officials and public officials, but then it will mostly be under Chapter 13 on the public service, the principles and values and principles of public service. But you've raised two things that one is the challenge is the solution from my perspective? Is the solution extending the retirement age, or is it preparing people for retirement before they get to 60? Because on one hand, it's understandable. If you have an institution that has mostly the elder or the older generation,
Yes.
and they all fall out without succession plans and without succession strategies, then it becomes a problem, because then they live with that institutional memory. That is one. But the challenge is, if you also let them stay for too long, then there isn't any change within the institutions. And that is one of the issues then that you're finding even within public, and mostly in public institutions, where if you extend the retirement age and you have a good number of young people then who would like to join the service, but they're not able to be absorbed because the numbers are too high and the wage bill is too high, then they're not able to get employment. And you find the older people, they also do not want to be employed because, like, to retire, because as you're rightly saying, they do not know what to do with themselves.
Yes.
And that for me is planning and maybe a cultural thing. So that culturally you are told the best that you can do for yourself is to get employed. After you've gotten employed, you work for this number of years, and then now you retire home. What you're supposed to do with yourself afterwards, then there's no plan for it. You are more or less considered useless once you get to a particular age, and you're not adding any value to society. But then you're saying you still have 75, 80-year-olds who are active and they're able to contribute meaningfully to society.
Yes.
So for me, it's not necessarily extending the retirement age by whatever number of years. It's helping people then prepare for retirement. And I'm seeing a lot of that happening in the private sector, where then they're having sessions with individuals. They're telling them how to invest, because most times you fear retirement because what are you going to eat?
Exactly.
How are you going to survive and pay rent and all these other things? But if you start early and you know how you're going to take care of yourself, you know where you're going to get fulfillment, you know how you're going to order your family and order your home, then retirement should not be scary. It should actually be something that you are looking forward to, so that then the skills that you have gained while you are working, you can then now pass it on to the younger generation. So it's more of preparedness than changing policy, I think.
Okay.
Konene, najua mwaka ni mpya lakini injili ni ile ile lemfi. So kama uko US, uko UK, uko Canada ama uko the UAE na unatry kutuma do Kenya, baki umechangamka, ingia lemfi, utabaki umepata the most competitive rates. Lakini apart from that, on your first transaction ya $100 or more, utapata $20 sign up reward. So unangoja nini? Baki umechangamka, chap ingia lemfi. Lemfi, international payments for everyone.
And then this one I just need your opinion as a lawyer, yes? So there was this thing about NTSA fines, yes? And someone went to court to stop them. And now they've been stopped. And what they're saying is that everyone has to be given a chance to adjudicate or something like that. Like, there can't be a system where people just pay fines without to go through like some legal process, yes? But this is a worldwide practice. Instant fines is a worldwide practice. So where does worldwide practice and the Kenya Constitution, where do they merge? Because this is something that happens in modern societies. Kuna boy alinitumia a message that was very interesting. He was telling me that his friend got a job in Qatar. And this dude was supposed to be delivering stuff. So you know what he did? Got into the car, started running red lights. And just ran red lights because ametoka Kenya. In Kenya we run red lights. By the time alikuwa namaliza, bill yake ilikuwa 1.5 million shillings. Yes. Qatar don't mess around with traffic, Nini.
Yeah.
So this guy has a 1.5 million bill that he has to pay. And now, since it's attached to the company...
Oh, that's a lot.
Yes. So now inakatwa kwa salo yake. You can try and imagine how many months. Even if wanakata 25k per month, that's 60 months ya kukata. So, but anasema huko he's so disciplined. Someone else also sent me akaniambia that ali make mistake na yofanya delivery still Qatar. But yes, sasa nina nduthi. And ali make mistake akapata bill ya 16k, I think alikuwa niambia hivyo. And after that ananiambia he's so disciplined kwa barabara. Hata kiwa peke yake yeye angatu amechill tu. He does not break any laws. So where does international practice and local practice, where do they merge? Standard practice, because at a US instant fines, like it's such a normal thing worldwide, but sisi inasemekana that our constitution to a certain level also works against us, because by then we can litigate everything. Yes.
And I agree with you. We said it's good. It's a good way of doing things, giving everyone the right to access, giving everyone the right to access justice.
Yes.
And on the question you've asked about the international rules and norms,
Yes.
if you look at Article 2.5, it says that the general rules of international law shall form part of the law of Kenya. So there are certain rules, and not rules exactly, but there are certain, it's more of international treaties and agreements that can then apply.
Yes.
But for this particular issue that you're talking about,
Yes.
for me, it boils down to digitized governance. And where it's more governing through technology or through the digital systems, as you rightly put it. And we started. I think we started out with KRA,
Yes.
digitizing the systems, and then we went to e-citizen. Digitizing the systems as well. And now it's progressing to other sectors as well. Of course, now with the instant fines being another sector that now is embracing digitized governance. And from the conversations, and I agree with you, it's a worldwide way of doing things. And it's very beneficial, one, as a deterrent mechanism, because then we've had people who are now more careful on the roads. They're not just going past the traffic lights as it is. And perhaps it's also going to work positively in terms of reducing accidents and, And the challenge comes in when now the questions we need to ask as we roll it out, one, is do we have the infrastructure for it? Infrastructure in terms of the cameras that we were told were being installed, and also part of that infrastructure, the systems. Now, if we say that it's a system that's going to generate the fines, systems are as good as those who manage them in the back end. So in the event that today this system has a glitch, what happens if I was given fines? So then for me, that is where the judicial issues come in. Where now there has to be a form of appeal.
Yes.
An appeal system, which now takes you through the judicial process. In the event that I feel aggrieved by this issue, then I can actually go to court. So those are the things that need to be very clear as part of it. And also the questions on who is it exactly that bears the liability. In the event that your son or your daughter or a friend is the one who was driving the car, is it the person who was driving, or is it the owner of the car?
Like for PSV is very difficult. Who is going to get the text? Is the driver or the owner of the car?
Exactly.
Yes, ameemploy mtu.
So I think the owner of the car atalipa fine, the driver atakuwa penalized na wanasema mpaka points zinatolewa kwa driving license.
Because for me, as I know, the money component is a very attractive nini for whoever is doing this thing. But the other alternative is you bring your driver's license by the end of the week. If you're caught with an offense, bring your driver's license, and then you don't have a driver's license. And then now kila mtu kwa barabara wanacheck you for driving license. So if you don't have a driving license, you have to explain why you're driving without a driving license. So watu watafuata sheria, but now the money component hiyo ndio inafanya watu wanaenda
but you'll find even beyond the money component, this appeal aspect that you're talking about, even if it was giving out my driving license, for what period of time? Is it a month? Is it a year? And if I'm doing business and I've given you my driving license, so there has to be clarity on the back end, if I could call it that, clarity on the back end on how to deal with the legal and administrative issues. And of course, then that also ties to the public participation, which is one of the reasons why then the court the court gave the order that it gave. So it's good. It's really good because then it speaks to where we are heading to as a country in terms of governance. It also reduces the backlog with the small cases and traffic offenses, and it also then ensures, it also acts as a deterrent mechanism. But then, of course, nothing is perfect. As we continue to implement, then certain things like what the court highlighted need to be addressed moving forward.
Yes, because I've not gotten the 1.5 million. I don't know why I didn't take a screenshot, but it was such an interesting story. This guy goes to Qatar and assumes it's Kenyan, just drives through red lights. And I'm sure the Qataris were there like, what is he doing? What's happening? So akaenda up na hiyo bill. But mwingine alikuwa ameandika vipi mwaf mini fan wa iko nini nilikushona piganga delivery na nduthi huku Qatar. Manze last month lilishikwa na speed camera. Ndio nimekutumia 2 times jo inauma. Hapo ni 17,690 shillings imeenda hivyo. So na support NTSA na hiyo instant fines. Ita minimize kiasi since hata speed limits na signs hakuna road pia ni tricky. Huku sheria ni kali, traffic rules tunaheshimu vibaya sana. Hata kuwe nani ama nani. Yeah, so cheki. So nasema huko wana respect, and it always reminds me of kuna show I think pia Zach kuna watch kunitwa Weeds. There's a show that was called Weeds. It was an American show. And I remember this one scene, I've never forgotten it. There was this lady driving on a Sunday afternoon and she stops at a stop sign. Alafu nakungalika red for long. So she was there losing her patience because she can't move. Unaangalia hivi, it's clear, the road is clear, all sides ukiangalia hivi. But she had to wait for the light to turn green. Unacheki. And I feel like we need to reach that level. Nanga jana tukiwa pale kwani karibu na City Mortuary. Ulicheki like people just can't. Unaona umesimama kwa red light, someone else anakuja napita, then watu wengine wanamwambia it's time kupita, acha tupite sisi wote.
Sasa hiyo si tunangoja light itan hata
mpaka you feel guilty kingoja
because kuna mtu nyuma yako anashinda what's going on.
Aelewi. So that for me goes to the values and the value system that you are talking about. And you've actually raised something for me. It would be interesting to see how I'm trying to find the right word. But elites, let me use the word elites.
They are going to follow the rules.
Yes. Because if they are able to pay, I think the highest fine is it 10,000 shillings?
10,000.
Yes,
Yeah.
10,000
So that
shillings.
could be pennies, little change for them that they can pay very easily. So it will be interesting to see how then the elites observe this law, or how they are made to adhere to this law. Because compared to the ordinary Kenyan, 10,000, 6,000, that's a lot.
Yes.
But for those we know that are deviant when it comes to the road, they are able to afford that 10,000 quite easily, and they are going to pay it. So what are we saying about the rule of law in that instance? One, are we going to say that there are other people that we are still going to allow to breach and break traffic rules because of their positions in society? And then is that 10,000 enough as a deterrent mechanism for everyone, not just those who are able to pay?
But I even think for them 10K is a lot of money. Like if it accumulates, it's because it can end up at 100K in one day. Like if you look at how the politicians in Kenya move, like the way they move, they drive on the wrong side of the road. That's endangering lives. Like you are putting people's alafu wataruka hizi lights zote, so inafaa kuwa who pays the bill? Is it the government or is it individual? Understand? Because if it's the government, they won't care. Watakuwa hii itatoka kwa serikali, silikuwa naenda kazini. But ikikuwa ni now it's individual, when wewe alafu ule driver wako ana lose license yake, utaona like even with them they'll find, because kila kitu itaanza kuwa make sense like so but sasa unasema kuna hiyo story ya if it's an international practice, then it can be brought closer home ama so can that case be argued in court that since hii kitu ni international and all countries do this in quotes, then we should naturally do this because kuna kila mtu, I saw a few people who are angry were saying mnataka kuwa kama Rwanda na Ethiopia but amko ready kuwa kama Rwanda na Ethiopia.
If the much I've read, because I haven't looked at the court order and the court documents in detail, the issues raised are about public participation and I think the right to a fair trial, so that then you're not tried instantly and the NTSA becomes the judge and at the same time. So if it's a good practice, which it is, and then it ensures that then we are aligned to what the other developing countries are doing as well. If it is good, then the issues raised remain public participation and public education, which I think is part of public participation, but public participation and the right to a fair trial, which legal then arguments and also constitutional arguments, so that then whatever rules and laws that you're putting out in the public has to participate in their enforcement. So what the proponents of the case are arguing then is public participation and right to a fair trial before fines are imposed on you. So I'm sure there's a hearing for it next month, I believe. Yes. So we'll get to see what advancements.
Somebody can argue that, okay, not in the law jargon because I told you I'm slow, right? But somebody can argue your instant fine ni maybe bond, right? Like if you ukishikwa unalipa bond ndio usiweze kuepa, but see once if you win the case you get your money back, right?
That could be one. That could be one, because even for me at this point I do, and that raises a good question for me as well. After the money has been collected, where is this money going to? What is it going to be used for? This money that I am paying, is it going to the consolidated fund? And those are not the questions that perhaps will be raised when, as a public, we are being educated on what the entire law is about, and perhaps they could be highlighted in the court case moving forward. So I could also ask the same. Could it be then as a bond, or it's money that is taken? And then now it goes, where does it go afterwards? This money that I paid.
And sasa, when such a thing is suspended, if I'd already gotten the notice to pay before the law was suspended, am I still required to pay? Because kuna watu wengi sana walipost wakisema that walikuwa mpata ile notice ya 10k, and it was funny because someone was saying that if yesterday, if on like Wednesday this week ulikuwa umeenda James Gishuru, everyone was driving at 45 kilometers per hour, which is also a good thing. Like I feel like me niko conflicted. Like I know some of the penalties were excessive, and I know some of the speed limits make no sense, because kama expressway, the average speed expressway is 60 kilometers per hour. If I'm on the expressway and you're telling me to go at 60 kilometers per hour, then there's no need for me to use it. Nacheki, because it's a very clear road. Naenda kama mkokoteni, hai make sense. So kuna hiyo, but kuna ile design ya huku chini. I think me hizo laws zinafaa apply down even more than expressway. Uchiki vile nini Germany has the autobahn. So kwa the autobahn hakunaga speed limit. I can go at any speed. So expressway inafaa kuwa ni minimum hiyo, like hiyo kuwe na minimum ni 60, maximum ni 110. Nacheki. But ukianza kusema expressway 20 kilometers per hour, I tried it out and it was frustrating. Like unaangalia barabara hivi kwa zile za
ulikuwa umechelewa.
Zisiko nimechelewa. I was just literally testing it out this week to see how practical it is kutumia expressway at 60 kilometers per hour, and it didn't make sense. Does it save you fuel? Yes, it saves you fuel. Hey, shit. It saves you a lot of fuel. But is it practical? No, it's not practical, because unatry kuimagine kama majuzi think napeleka wife airport, and it was at 90 kilometers per hour and it made sense, tulifika haraka kabisa. Ukiniambia 60 na ilikuwa saa 9 usiku, and we are basically sisi peke yetu kwa expressway. Understand? So there are those things that you have to look at and be like, does this make sense? Does this not make sense? So nafikiri nimekupoteza. So
You're asking about whether those who've been fined
Yes.
can
Will they
still
still pay?
yeah? Yes, I believe because
the law was then.
the law, what the law cannot do, we say what the law cannot do is to act retrospectively. So that it is now when the law is not operating, so to speak, that if you get fined, then you can argue
Yes.
that the law, I mean, there's a stay to it. What has happened is the I'm forgetting it.
Yeah.
Operationalization of it is what that has been stayed. But in the event that you are fined before the stay, then you'll still have to pay because then it's going to go through a judicial process or a legal process. And then what if the courts come back and say that NTSA, yes, it was legal? The system will still maintain the fine that it had given you. Then it's not going to wipe. The system is not going to wipe out because now there's a stay of execution. It's not going to.
But
so you still have to pay.
Somebody goes and argues that the whole process from the beginning was illegal, right?
Yeah.
There was no law. It wasn't passed in parliament, so see law.
Yeah.
So let's say they go argue it out and they win.
Yes.
Will they be required to pay? Because right now, yes, the system was told you owe 10,000, but the system was created illegally, according to some people.
Yeah.
So who is that there?
Now, for me, I'd say pay it. Pay it because then you do not know what the outcome of the case is going to be. Now, if it comes out that it's something that's illegal, then now you can always seek redress, and say I paid money to this and I want my money back. And I think that's already there as well because NTSA is a whole system in itself, even for applying for driving licenses and whatnot. In the event that you've paid for something, a service that you need a refund on, I'm sure there are processes then that
and
you can always get
we
your
bring
money.
the international law into it, and we introduce
if it applies.
We introduce an American component into it.
Yeah.
Like you find me illegally. I was mentally disturbed. I was stressed.
That's why I did.
So now I need you to pay me my 10 Gs plus, and now I'm suing you.
Exactly.
For
you
damages.
you can always come up with a whole. You have the right to litigate.
I'm suing for damages now.
Yeah.
So kuna vitu naweza taka kuunderstand because this is mnaitanga ni legal jargon. So inasema at the mention of the matter and in addition to confirming compliance, parties and or counsel shall address the court on their proposals for their expedited hearing and determination on the matter within 90 days of that mentioned date, if possible. Then ikakuwa the mention on 9th of April 2026 to confirm compliance and to take directions on the expedited hearing and determination of the application and or petition. So this means that if these laws are suspended, ziko suspended for how long? Till 90 days or till the 9th of April?
Until the matter is concluded.
So if is mentioned in 9th of April, can it be mentioned and determined on the same day?
No, I think it would be because then mention and then they can set a trial, a hearing date.
Yes.
Mention date and then they set a hearing date where now the counsels for both sides will then go and argue the case out on its constitutionality, if that is what the focus will be on that day. And the hearing then can then take a given period of time, and then the court now will give its ruling, then its judgment, and then now NTSA, regard whatever decision then comes from it, then it will be enforced. Either NTSA will go along with it, or then they'll be forced to change or do more public participation.
Alafu pia, another thing that will be looked at, I think according to Kenyan law, the maximum speed ya Kenya inakuwaga 110. Sindio? So kama maximum speed yetu ni 110 and someone was caught doing 130, can that be argued that they were still committing an illegality? Unajua 110 mtu anaweza argue that I didn't know this is a 50 kilometer zone. Sindio? Maximum, alafu maximum ya for example public transport ni 80. So kama mtu amepita hizi levels like public transport, mtu anaenda at 120, huyu mtu mwingine wa kawaida Mkenya anaenda at 130. Legally they've broken the law, sindio? So can that be what does that do in the grand scheme of things? Because that one does not deserve a fair hearing, because literally you're going past the speed limit here, the country itself. Yeah. So
I believe one of the things that a law should be or have is clarity.
Yeah.
So that it's not ambiguous. Is it 130? Is it 100? Is it 110? If it says 80 for PSV, 120 for another, then it's very clear. So that even for you, as you're going about your business, then you know this is what, if I do this or if I pass this limit, then it is a breach of the law, or I'm breaking the law. So I believe that is a clarity then that NTSA, with the laws and regulations that it's developing, then has to make it very clear and then enforce it.
Yeah, because let's say ka hiyo sasa hiyo ingine ya before they introduced the new one, hiyo unasema ilikuwa 110 and then PSV 80, what would be the punishment for over speeding going past let's say 120 now? Tuseme before hii ya saizi. So whatever the punishment that existed at that time, utakwambia okay fine, saizi hatuchukui 10k yako, but enda kotini ukadili na hii kesi ingine.
Na kotini unajua, of course, I think one of the things wanasema they are trying to fight ni corruption, that human interaction, and pia nini. So I think it's a noble cause. I think the main thing ni hakuna clarity. You don't know which areas are which areas. I think even someone today had alikuwa ametweet akisema vile ametry kudrive at 60 asijui at what area, and it made no sense. Najua it made no sense, like alishindwa kabisa because kuna places where you can see they are no residential, they are no nothing, like hakuna corners. Najua kwa corner, slow down kwa corner makes sense. Lakini place hakuna corner, hakuna, it's just clear kabisa. Jua ina shine, alafu naambia mtu mpaka now it becomes frustrating. Sasa mtu iko pale iko. So I think kuna vitu zile nini. Alafu now there was another story that happened earlier this week. I don't know if you heard, but it was the story of a judge and a lawyer were caught like preparing for corruption. So there was money on the table, and I know you don't practice, but how bad is, from the outside looking at, how bad is our judicial system? Like, can it be because tushasikia pia nani Ahmed Nasir akibonga jury's pesa, and then we see this where they are caught with money on the table, like there was literally kuna pesa kwa meza,
evidence
ni corruption. Sasa inataka kuendelea hapo, like how bad, and did that play a role in you deciding not to practice? Maybe uliona like hapa I can't survive in this jungle of corruption.
No, my decision not to practice, I think it's do I say it's a personality thing? I just found it boring. I think doing the same thing, for me, doing the same thing every day, making the same arguments over a period of time, I wanted more activity, so to speak, the travel, the whatnot. So that was a different reason. And to answer your question, how bad is our judiciary? I will acknowledge as someone within that sector that like every other place, you have good people and then you have the rotten apples. You have good citizens and then you have
the rotten.
Yes. and then you have the rotten citizens, and as it is often it's the bad citizens that then get the most publicity.
Yes.
As it is happening now. So that was a very unfortunate thing to happen. And from what I read as well, was also the fact that this was a judge that had already been dismissed.
Yes.
Still on issues of
so now he's a
integrity.
These are the corners we used to cut.
Yes, and still on integrity issues. And of course the challenge with that then is it paints a very negative image of an institution that citizens have placed so much hope in, as far as addressing the social, economic, and even the individual issues that are affecting community. And so my thinking is, moving forward, as it happened with him, strengthening of institutions such as the JSC, very important, so that then you are able to hold these individuals accountable and even dismiss them from office, like this one was dismissed from office. Granted, they are bad judges, they are bad lawyers, they are bad judicial officers, but then there are also good ones who are actually dispensing justice as they should be doing.
Okay. So with the story ilikuwa hivi. So kuna Mutava and Wachira along with an auctioneer Dr. Kennedy Gumbao Mulwa and another associate Tom Awili conspired to solicit a 10.4 million shillings bribe. So I think that's what was on the table. Sindio? Then the bribe was intended to influence the outcome of a commercial dispute involving a former cabinet minister. Then saizi, all suspects were released on a 200,000 shillings Polish cash bail. So kuna hiyo. Alafu pia ikakuwa, come to this Mutava character, Mutava faced intense scrutiny for presiding over a case where he terminated the 5.8 billion Goldenberg criminal charges against businessman Kamlesh Patni. In 2016, a tribunal led by then Chief Justice David Maraga investigated 6 counts of misconduct against him. They found him guilty of 3, including gross misconduct for his handling of the Patni case and attempting to influence other judges. Then Supreme Court removal, ikakwani Mutava appealed his removal, arguing that his tribunal was unconstitutional. In March 2019, the Supreme Court upheld the tribunal's findings, ending his tenure as a High Court judge. Nacheki. So this is a character who cost Kenya money. It was Goldenberg. That guy went scot-free. Anakuwaga tu ko inje aki...
Zimbabwe na?
Yes. Alienda Zimbabwe akakoroga. Alijifanyisha ameokoka hapa Kenya. You remember? Ndugu Paul. Brother Paul. So akafanya hizo alafu it's a very sad state of affairs. But before tukurelease, did you see the viral video that was going around of a girl who hit a matatu yesterday? Did you watch that video?
I did.
So what came to your mind when you saw that video? Like, what was the first thing?
I felt terrible for her, the violence that she had to endure. Yeah, and from what I read, it was from the tout refusing to give her a change.
Her change, yes.
He disappeared, yeah.
He disappeared.
Yeah. So she asked the driver. The driver was like,
was rude.
Why would I know where he is?
Yeah.
Utafanya vile unataka.
Yes.
And then she alifanya vile anataka.
Yes.
Yeah, she went ahead and
after now I think the conductor alitokea all of a sudden kuchukua handbag yake.
Yeah. Which handbag? I thought it was a chain.
I thought it was a chain, a necklace or something.
Yeah. Kwani chain
haikuwa ile handbag za madem ziko na chain.
Okay, yeah. Because it could be that. Because I didn't watch kulikuwa too many people I couldn't follow. I just saw somebody snatching a chain.
Yeah. And then you see now the video doesn't tell us what happened afterwards. Yeah. Whether they continued to manhandle her.
Mi niko nafikiri ni content creation. Siko ubaya. Niko nafikiri watu watawa wamedecide kushoot video kawa kina
you know. But then of course her action of destroying property that I think also set her up for that the way things happened. And for me then it boils down to if our systems are working, where I know that if I go to report then I'll get justice. Like for her, even for her, she was stolen from. That was theft, ideally. So beyond her reaction, her immediate reaction, if she had the mind that she can actually go to a cop station, report, and there are consequences to these particular individuals who stole and to the sacco and to the matatu, then I think that to an extent works towards ensuring that citizens and the common people do not take the law in their own hands.
The law.
The law.
Yes. Take the law in their own hands.
Sheria ni mawe.
I know. So she did her part of breaking the law, and
it was sad to see, but when nilisikia that alipatiana thao allegedly, alafu after apatiane thao hakulipwa, hakupatiwa nini, I felt some type of way because people struggle out there. You can't be there ukata kupatia watu change yao. It's just unacceptable. So of course ye pia break the law by kuchukua hiyo na alichukua maa ingine kubwa.
Hizo maa zinapatikanaga wapi huko cause kuna time you utafuta mawe.
I think it was the Nini, what
was it? Cabro.
One of the Cabro blocks.
Ya Luthuli. Iko nayo.
Okay. Cause hizo ndio area unafaa at least ujue mali unaweza pata mawe cause unaweza kuwa unatembea hivi na kuna watu wanakufuata huko nyuma wanataka kitu yako.
But it's something I think she could still pursue if you know the matatu that you boarded, you know the individual, she could always still pursue it. Perhaps then now the
basi unajua naangalia naweza pursue it au for 3 years ama Kenya vile vitu waga mention they pursue for 15 years then after 15 years maybe hata huo makanga ilisha dedi the sako ishafilisika you understand like so that's why I think sometimes I'm gonna feel like instant justice
or maybe she didn't even know that she's able to access justice in that manner, and she can always do pro bono as well. If she pursues pro bono legal services, I think that going through the legal process sometimes it's better than taking the law into your own hands.
This is like, I'm sorry to say it, but it's deeper than that. Like a few years or months ago, everyone was paying their hata kama ni kwa ma3 with M-Pesa. Right now, it's like they're discouraging people from paying. Ushaenda supermarket? Line ya M-Pesa ni moja. Nini, what do you call them? Station ya M-Pesa ni moja. The rest ni cash.
Kwa nini?
Tembea.
Or it's a KRA thing.
It's KRA thing. Tembea hapa tao.
But sasa hiyo ni upuzi
It's fucked up. Like it's fucked up. Yesterday I had to be in a line kwa supermarket. Line ingine ndefu cause sasa there's only one ya M-Pesa na sometimes haina mtu. So now you're forced to go to the counter, withdraw, come stand on the line, pay cash. That's what's happening.
Mi itakuwa
inconvenient
sana cause I expected you to have been paying your taxes all along.
Exactly. But so naona sasa unachekikaa sema 3 so unacheki hiyo namba inakuwa hapo ni kasa hizi watatry kudiscourage. They want you to pay cash. Na sasa mtu ako na cash.
And I'm hoping they have enough coins. Because taking us back to
now
leaving the supermarket with sweets. Forcing sweets.
Forcing
sweets on me. Have change.
There's nothing sweet about this economy. Nipatia nini. So watu wanataka hii nini kitabu. Is it unaiuza?
Yes.
Like how can people get it?
The book is available at Nuria Store, our beloved bookstore. Nuria Store, it's on Moi Avenue, Bazaar Plaza on the first floor.
Yes.
And they also have, you can also order online, then they can do your online deliveries. And you can take for yourself, the adult teenagers. You can take for the teenagers, they have the teen groups, reading clubs, anyone, because the Constitution is for all groups.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's important for even the young people in your space, regardless of what they're doing in life, in stage of life at that time, very important. It's also KICD approved. That means it to be used in classes, particularly for grade 8, 9, moving upwards. So if you are in alumni groups, for instance, those who went to Alliance and the other groups, you can always get it for high schools. So anyone, as many copies as you'd like, and for as many teenagers as possible, so that we are preparing them in good time, especially now that we are going to have a huge mass of first-time voters. It's important for them then to get to...
So, ni pesa ngapi?
It's 1,300 shillings. Only.
Hapo Kenya.
Only. Only. So Nuria Store.
Yes.
Ulichoose nini mzuri Bazaar Plaza.
Yes, Bazaar
Plaza. Like there's a lot of like colleges over there.
Yes.
After school.
But it's mostly for Nuria. I think they're the ones who wanted space, more space for themselves.
Okay. So inaitwa Teens Guide to the Constitution of Kenya. You need to be guided, man. Some of us don't know it because this is the Teens Guide to the software, man. The software that we have tunapenda sana kuvunja sheria,
nunulia watu
To overspeed.
kuoverspeed, kuseti plastic na gunia kwa drainage. Shepitaga pale uko na literal gunia iko kwa drainage. Alafu inakuwa tutakuwa tu interesting sana and baadaye tunateta so imekuwa ni episode 629. Yes. So and nini apart from of course kila kitu, one thing sikuuliza ni cheki hapa ulikuwa kwa Obama Foundation.
Yes.
So what is it? Is this the one that involves traveling and kwenda places ama Obama CEO? Hiyo ni ile ya Mandela.
Yes, there's Mandela, but for Obama Foundation, it's a leadership program established by Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Part of empowering young leaders.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I was in the inaugural, I don't want to call it project, but I was in the inaugural team.
Yes.
For that's way back in 2018. When it just left office, and then now he still wanted to engage in leadership and governance initiatives. So he established Obama Foundation as a means to empower young leaders, especially across Africa.
Okay.
So the first cohort, yes, I was in the first cohort. Then we went all the way to South Africa. We spent a couple of days being empowered on issues, leadership. And then afterwards, then now their engagements. I think now it's in its 2025 cycle.
Okay.
Just bringing in more young leaders annually to equip them with what they need to impact Africa through leadership.
Okay.
Yeah.
So vile tuko tunasema imekuwa ni episode 629. So kama kawaida vile susamaga like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend. Tukimalizia tukisema eko nene.